dushki hey nachati gut ki ach Dutch hank ach da sakukahlani kagahagud ne Lani kagahagud ne hayahu hey yahu hey yahu hey haya jidai dushki heng nachati Kahlani kagahagud ne hayahu hey yahu hey yahu hey haya. Yak ye hayati hatlil guhas hastichagachi tu adah Achaya tu hatletzing kakakakaktuak hey ha hey ha hey hashika Gachati hey ha hey ha hey hashika athas idasht gachati hey ha hey ha hey hey Welcome. Thank you for joining us for the National Day of Mourning. We open our ceremony today with the sounds from the Midnight Sun Pipe Band and healing songs from Sarah Johnson Smith. We begin our ceremony by acknowledging our past and our history, that we are on the traditional territories of the Tan-Quechan Council and the Kwanlin Dun First Nation. We recognize and honor the Indigenous peoples who have been living and working on these lands and continue to do so. I invite you to take a deep breath, recognizing our natural relationship with the land, waterways, and all living beings. We are grateful for the opportunity to live, work, learn on these traditional territories. It is my honor to introduce to you Betsy Jackson, elder and respected member of the Tan-Quechan Council, who will lead us in an opening prayer.
Creator, we solemnly and humbly come before you today. We offer our thanks and appreciation that you have brought us all here safely. We thank you for this opportunity to acknowledge those lost in the workplace through injury, illness, or accident. We ask for your courage and strength to carry on each and every day, mourning our losses, but counting our blessings. We thank you for the employers who have employees, and that they make their workplace safe and a place where people want to come to work, where they enjoy their work. Needs to be a place of safety. Needs to be a comfortable place. It needs to be one where you know you're with a team and that you each have their back. We thank you for the help and guidance you provide us each and every day. We thank you for the blessings that come from the four sacred directions, the blessings that come from the grandfathers and the grandmother, the blessings that come from Mother Earth and all her kingdoms, great and small, and the blessings that come from Father Sky, for he carries the weather. We ask for your blessing on each and every employee that was lost through accident, illness, or injury at the workplace. We ask for your blessing on all their families, their friends, their community, as we strive to make every place a better place to be, a safe place. We are all humbly honored to come here and to remember and to mourn those we have lost, those who were injured, those who were taken by accident. And we also here to support the families and the friends and the communities and the employers of those people we have lost. It is our responsibility to pay attention when we are at work, because we know we can prevent some things from happening if we are astute in our attention. We ask you to remind us to be diligent, to be caring, to be compassionate. And we thank you for those opportunities. We just thank you that you brought us all safely here today. We thank you for this beautiful day where we can remember those we have lost. And we thank you for the time that people are giving to honor those who are gone. I just give thanks and appreciation that I am able to do this. I give thanks for all you have provided. And I cherish all my relations. Amen.
Thank you for coming. I extend a warm welcome to everyone who has taken time to honor this day, whether you're joining us in person or online. I know that today can be a difficult day for many who are personally impacted by a workplace tragedy, and I hope that today you allow this community to surround you with care. At any point, should you feel overwhelmed or need support beyond those that you have closest to you, we do have counselors available today from NIMCO and Associates, providers of employee assistance programs and critical incident stress management. And I'll just ask these counselors to stand so that you can easily recognize them. Just seek them out if you need support today. My name is Teresa Atchison, President of the Yukon Federation of Labour, your host for today's ceremony. My office is not too far from here, so almost every week I have the opportunity to walk by this monument, and it reminds me of what I fight for: safe work for all workers. Today I also want to give some thanks to our participants that will be in today's ceremony for honoring this day and committing to the importance of safe work for all. I particularly want to recognize the Whitehorse RCMP, Kwanlin Dunn Community Safety Officers, and the International Association of Firefighters for providing an honor guard for today's event. I also want to thank the Yukon Government Executive Council Office for the provision of the flags, and Stephen Phillips from Eclectic Sound for donating sandbags so we don't blow away today. Today's event is produced by Gunta Business and supported by the City of Whitehorse Park staff, Marsh Lake Tents and Events, ASL Interpretation Services, and our volunteers who have been helping meeting you and greeting you as you came today. To our local business suppliers, In Bloom Flowers, Inspirations Inclusion Yukon, and of course, the Workers' Compensation and Safety Board, who sponsor this event and work year-round to ensure workplaces are safe, supporting workers and employers. April 28th is a day that we remember those whose lives were lost and those whose lives were forever changed due to unsafe work conditions. We have a responsibility to do better for today's workers. We owe it to the families who have lost their loved ones, to preventable workplace accidents and illness, and to the workers whose lives have been forever changed because of something that happened at work. We've come a long way in improving occupational health and safety laws, but more needs to be done to make a real difference in reducing the number of workers killed and injured on the job. Workplace accidents and illnesses are preventable and should never just be seen as part of the job or the cost of doing business. We can and must do more to prevent workplace deaths, injuries, and illnesses. This year, unions across Canada are calling for safe work now. In 2022, nearly 1,000 people left for work and never came home across Canada. In the Yukon in 2022, there was one place work fatality, 15 workers permanently impaired, and over 1,000 claims with the Workers' Safety and Compensation Board. Across Canada, over 300,000 workers were injured or got sick at work, and many have never fully recovered. We know that these numbers are just the tip of the iceberg because they only include those who are accepted by a workers' compensation system. Data shows that the workplace injuries, accidents, and illnesses are likely severely underreported. Since taking this office, I've seen self-employed workers suffer in silence because they don't pay into a workers' compensation plan. I've seen workers denied previous claims and then they don't trust to go back when there is a new workplace illness or injury. I've seen workers afraid of speaking up for fear of retribution, losing their job, or being blacklisted by an industry, or for some facing deportation. Workers who face pressures and witness company shortcuts, whether they downplay a near miss in the workplace, forge paperwork to meet requirements, or moving employees to a new role rather than dealing with the issue. I've seen workers who feel nervous or overlooked because their concerns raised are not taken seriously, and in some cases they just give up and will go on with unsafe work. We can and we must do more to prevent workplace deaths, injuries, and illnesses, and make it safe for workers to report. This year also marks the 20th anniversary of the Westray Law. This was named for 26 workers in Plymouth, Nova Scotia, who lost their lives in 1996 in the Westray mine explosion. However, since its inception, only a handful of criminal charges have ever been laid due to inconsistent or insufficient enforcement of that law. Many of those cases result in a fine, which has limited impact on the major corporations. Just last week, PSAC members heard an eyewitness account from survivor Vernon Thiroux, who has written a book about the impact of Westray. A public inquiry to investigate what caused one of our country's most deadliest mining disasters led to findings that that mine was mismanaged, miners' safety concerns were ignored, poor oversight by government regulators, resulting in a disaster. In that case, criminal charges were dropped and accountability was lost. This should sit heavy with Yukoners. With our economic development, new mines opening, placing our citizens in jobs in these mines, oversight and attention to worker safety cannot be overlooked. Governments and decision makers, employers, workers must all do more to make safe work now. It's important to acknowledge the impact that workplace injuries and fatalities have on families and our communities. These events can cause deep and lasting pain, and we must work together to ensure that they do not happen again. Northern Safety Network Yukon has helped certify 90 core recognized employers in Yukon, 45 C-Corps, 9 core equivalent, and 11 owner-operators with certificates of proficiency. We want to thank these employers for investing in the safety of their workers, ensuring that workers are aware of potential hazards, allowing time for inspections, proper labeling, education, and training, providing adequate personal protective equipment that fits all body types and users, implementing protection that is not just for physical injury, but also protecting workers against violence and harassment, and ensuring workers know their rights and have the tools to be safe on the job. Here in Yukon, there were no workplace fatalities recorded by Workers' Compensation and Safety Board in 2023. But our community has recently lost a beloved firefighter from their battle with an occupational cancer. Paul Gray received his diagnosis of pancreatic cancer in June 2022, a work-related injury common to firefighters. As my friend said, we all forget that we are mortal. We just forget. A long, slow illness can make it easy to ignore the obvious, but a time does come when the truth must be faced. So now we get to the heart of the matter. I am pleased to introduce our next speaker to you as someone who cares deeply for all Yukoners, and in particular workers and those impacted by this day. Kate White, leader of the Yukon NDP, has many years of dedication as an elected official, but she's also deeply connected with the day of mourning and has been willing to share some of her heart with me. As someone personally impacted by a workplace, she offers compassionate and heart-hitting truth that we can all learn from. Kate White.
When I come to this, I normally sit in the back and I just cry. I wear sunglasses. It doesn't matter what I look like because this day is a big day. So, despite having delivered speeches on this topic many times over the years, I haven't ever gotten through one without feelings. So I want you all to allow yourselves permission and grace to have the feelings that we're going to have, and to know that this is a safe place to do so. The day of mourning holds a lot of meaning for me. Despite the changing of the season and the return of the light, I feel a deep sense of loss near the end of April. In fact, in the days leading up to April 28th, I don't feel like myself. Sometimes I forget, well, I feel this way, and then it comes to me like waves, slowly building until I can remember. And the day of mourning wasn't ever an event that I had ever thought of or attended prior to 2007. I had always seen the signs on the side of the road or pins at the cash registers, but for me, there was no personal connection. And that all changed on April 28th, 2006. My friend Jean-François Paget was a beautiful man, caring, thoughtful, and in my mind, hilarious. He was well-traveled. He had lived around the world and chose to make the Yukon his home. You would have recognized him to see him. Green rubber boots, a floppy brown leather hat, and 2 braided pigtails. And when I first met him, he worked with children. He was the big brother that we all wished we had. Those kids were very lucky. He decided he needed a change and took a course at the college to get into the exploration industry. He wanted to work outdoors, to spend more time with his dog Nobu, and to really see the Yukon. And he got his dream job with Aurora Geoscience. He traveled around the territory working with people he loved, doing a job he loved. On the morning of April 28th, 2006, Jean-François got dropped off at the start of his staking line. A day like any other until he met the grizzly. And the irony doesn't escape me to be killed at work on the day of remembrance for workers injured or killed on the job. And I think he too would have seen the dark humor in that. And it gives me comfort to know that he was killed by the North American equivalent of the great white shark, a mama grizzly with 2 cubs. He died April 28, 2006, 18 years ago, at the age of 28. I think of him often. I attended my very first day of mourning ceremony in 2007. I still remember how it felt and how it still feels. It's overwhelming, it's confusing, it's hard. It's hard. Having feelings in public is hard. In 2009, I worked for Yukon Zinc out at Wolverine Mine as a camp cook. And there I met Paul. Paul Wenzel was a beautiful man. He reminded me of a newborn colt. He was all legs and enthusiasm. That boy exuded a love for life. He was following in his father's footsteps. All he wanted to do was to be a miner like generations of his family before him. He was apprenticing as a heavy-duty mechanic. My favorite memories of Paul were from breakfast. He'd come in all bleary-eyed, polite and sweet. He loved his journeymen. They were his closest family, and he'd get exactly what his journeymen ordered every morning for breakfast, no matter what it was. And he was always excited about going to work. For him, it was more than a job. I wasn't out at camp in October 2009, but I know on that day he would have had the exact same breakfast as his journeyman, and he would have been excited about whatever machine they were going to be working on. When he went into the tunnel that afternoon on October 9th, 2009, it would have been a day like any other. But when he parked the work truck, he forgot to chock the wheels and the safety brake let go. He was medevac to Whitehorse and died later that day. He died on October 19th, 2009, at the age of 20. I think about him often. My introduction into politics was more like a christening by fire. I ran in the 2006 election after being asked by my friend Todd Hardy. I got to know Steve Cardiff in the fall of 2006. He was a beautiful man. He was the MLA for Mount Lorne Southern Lakes, and he taught me that there was room for heart in politics. That as long as your feelings are real, they are justified and they belong. Steve loved his job. You could see it on his face, in his eyes, and in the way he spoke. He wore his heart on his sleeve, and he believed that standing up for the underdog was an honor and a duty. He loved the people he represented, he loved the people of the territory, and he made people feel like they mattered. He really made them feel seen. Steve always had time for a chat, always had something supportive to say, and he was looking forward to the election that fall, 2011, a chance to make more change in the territory he loved. And when he left that house, when he left his house, it was a day like any other. He was out to visit constituents in their homes, to stop in and say hello. And that all changed when his pickup truck crossed the center line. Steve Cardiff died on July 6, 2011 at the age of 53. I think about him often. And this year brings a special sadness. As our community feels the loss of a firefighter who succumbed to occupational cancer. I was asked to say his name and say it loudly. Paul Gray. Paul left this world 10 days ago on April 18th, 2024, after a 2-year battle with work-related injury common to firefighters, pancreatic cancer. He was a beautiful man. His commitment to safeguarding the community extended beyond his official duties, embodying the spirit of a true protector both in service and his personal life. He thrived on the complex challenges that the fire service presented, always ready with innovative solutions. He served the Whitehorse Fire Department with valor and dedication since 2003. Since his passing, the memories that are being shared of Paul paint the picture of a man of many facets. Stoic, kind, goofy, calm, generous, with perfect comedic timing. He loved his community. He loved his wife. He loved his family. In the days before his admission to hospice, his friends from the Whitehorse Fire Department organized a tribute parade. And the day he died, the city of Whitehorse lowered their flags to half-mast. Paul's impact on the community was profound. He died 10 days ago at the age of 61. He is missed every day. Canadians across the country are attending ceremonies like ours today. And countless people are feeling the very real loss of a loved one that was taken long before their time. And we all try to figure it out. We try to find the hidden meaning behind the loss. And the fact that once a year we gather as a country, as a community, to remember those that were taken from us or injured while on the job rings bitter. I'm grateful for the sense of community. I'm grateful for the beautiful ceremony. I'm grateful that my friends are remembered with red flowers. But underneath it all, I'm still angry. I'm furious. I'm furious that good people still continue to lose their lives every year while at work. The day of mourning isn't just an abstract concept. It's about people, it's about families and communities and how they piece themselves together and continue on. And today I shared the glimpses of 4 people I knew. And they're each so much more than just these short snapshots. But it's important that we remember their faces. And I wish I knew the story of every red flower that will be placed today, so that I could share the stories of the people we've lost. I wish I could speak of them here and say their names, so that their friends and family know that we haven't forgotten. Honor them. Say their names. Share their stories as you remember those dear to you, so they live on. And as much as April 28th is a day to honor the dead and the injured, it is also a day that reminds us of the need to protect and fight for the living. There is no room for complacency. Every workplace death is a tragedy that could and should have been prevented. This year, as every year before it, as we place a flower on the memorial, we pledge to keep each other safe. A red flower for someone who has been injured or killed on the job, a white flower for remembrance. And this year, like all of those since 2007, I will place a red flower. And I will say their names. Today, as we pledge to fight for the living, we remember in the hearts of those left behind, the mourning never ends.
Thank you, Kate. We recognize the important role that workplace safety plays for each Yukon family, and we acknowledge that it's a collective responsibility to ensure the safety of all workers. So today we renew our commitment to workplace health and safety. We're reminded that we must always be vigilant in our efforts to improve workplace safety. It's a responsibility that we all share, and one that we must take seriously. We commit to ensuring every worker gets to come home from work and making every workplace a safe and healthy place to earn a living. This past year, I had the chance to speak with Bella Simo, the artist and sculptor that helped bring this Workers Memorial to life that you see before you today. This outdoor memorial was unveiled in 2016, and its location was strategic to provide a peaceful space for people to contemplate the importance of workplace safety and remember those they've lost. Several employers, Workers' Safety and Compensation Board, and the Yukon Federation of Labour contributed to build this permanent monument to commemorate the workers who paid such a terrible price while providing valuable work to our territory. The memorial is designed around the day of mourning symbol of a lit candle. Candles have long symbolized remembering hope and commitment. Sculptor Bella Simo tried to put himself in the mind of those who have passed away, the workers who are gone because their life was lost. He said, "If this was the memory of those persons, I would like to see my children, grandchildren, to be there and to be celebrating life." It's intended to be a vibrant, lively place where you can have lunch, where people can gather, a pleasant place to be, as he reflected on his intent to point towards a future that can nourish that essence. So rising out of the base are 5 dynamic pillars representing workers in all fields of endeavors. The pillars represent workers, contribute to workplace safety for themselves and their colleagues, but also have the most to lose and the most at risk. Employers, who are workers too, and contribute to the economy and carry a heavy responsibility to ensure workplace training, tools, and procedures are in place. Governance, government, workers' compensation, occupational health and safety, inspectors, as well as health and safety committees and safety officers striving to make work environments safe. Community. Workplace injuries affect every corner of our community, including families, friends, associates, neighbors, and clans. And the 5th pillar is healthcare providers, our first responders, who not only care for injured workers, but who themselves are among the most at risk of injury, from exposure to toxic substances, to violence, to physical strains, as they move and assist patients. So it's my honor now to introduce our pledge makers for the 2024 National Day of Mourning. Each representative will come forward and read a commitment statement and then be entrusted with a candle in honor of injured, ill, and fallen workers. Our first 3 pledges on behalf of workers and employers. On behalf of workers, I'm going to invite 3 of them to the stage, and you can each give your pledge after one another. On behalf of workers in the private sector, we have Tracy DuPont, Business Manager for IBEW Local 1574, representing Northwest-Tel employees. And in the public sector, we have Chris Johnson, Incident Commander and Senior Yukon Fire Control Officer with 41 years experience and now 2 sons following in his footsteps. And on behalf of employers, we have Linda Benoit on behalf of the Yukon Contractors Association.
On behalf of the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, Local 1574, representing bargaining unit employees of Northwest-Tel in all 3 territories, I, Tracy DuPont, Business Manager, commit to making workplaces safe.
Thank you. My name is Chris Johnson. I'm here to represent the wildland fire community. And as it was introduction said, this is my 41st year, and I now have 2 fully grown sons that are actually wildland firefighters. And I pledge to make it a healthier and safer workplace. Thank you.
On behalf of the Yukon Contractors Association and our members, I, Linda Benoit, Secretary Treasurer, commit to making workplaces safer.
Our next 3 pledges are from communities. Really a blend of governance, workers, employers, caregivers, and the relationships of all intersecting lives. On behalf of communities, we're honored to welcome Chief Sean Smith of the Kwanlin Dun First Nation, Chief Amanda Lees of the Tan Quachan Council, and Councillor Kirk Cameron for the City of Whitehorse.
On behalf of Kwalendon First Nation, a core for certified since 2016 First Nation, along with a growing number of employees and responsibilities for us as an employer to make sure that we do our best job to take care of those that work for our nation and help to create a safer, better community. I pledge our devotion to this very important thing for us as a community. So, sheesh.
On behalf of Ta'an Quechan Council, I, Amanda Lease, Chief, commit to making workplaces safe. Shonithan.
This day, on the lands of the Ta'an Quechan Council and Kwalendon First Nation, and on behalf of the City of Whitehorse, Mayor and Council, I, Councillor Kirk Cameron, commit to making workplaces safe. I too have a son working in wildland fire, so it's a great honor.
And our final two pledges on behalf of governance and healthcare. On behalf of governance, the Honorable Richard Mostyn, Minister of Community Services and Minister responsible for the Workers' Safety and Compensation Board. And on behalf of healthcare, Chimera Tyerman, a Professional Institute of the Public Service of Canada steward, executive member, and representative on Joint Occupational Health and Safety Committee, also a physiotherapist with Yukon Hospital Corp for 11 years.
Good afternoon. On behalf of governance, I, Richard Mostyn, Minister responsible for the Yukon Workers Safety and Compensation Board, commit to making workplaces safe.
On behalf of healthcare workers and the Yukon Hospital Corporation, I, Chimera Tyerman, physiotherapist and Professional Institute of the Public Service of Canada steward, commit to making workplaces safe.
If you can, I invite you to stand with us as we're going to join in 1 minute of silence to honor and remember those who have lost their lives and suffered injury, illness on the job, or experienced a work-related tragedy. As our honor guard moves towards the memorial, we will be led by the Rising Sun Singers. We invite each of you to join with us following our pledge makers and we invite you to take a carnation. As you come, you may take it with you in remembrance, or you may lay it at the memorial. It's important that we each are considerate, kind, and compassionate to those around you as you make your way through the memorial site. Please take the time that you need to reflect and pay tribute. you everyone for coming today, for being here. I do invite you to stay as long as you want. This is a place of contemplation, remembrance. As you go, please remember we have something to fight for. We have workers' lives, and each of us can play a part to make sure that everyone understands that a life is more valuable than the job to be done. And I thank you for taking time today. Thank you, Rising Sun Singers, for leading us into this.
Guard.